Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, and great millstone to roll well. Peace and blessing, salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. Alright, this is going to be a real quick lesson breaking down who Esau, Edom is, alright, who the Edomites are collectively. Okay, because according to the Bible, it goes by your patrilineal, your father's seed line. Okay, so there are Edomites that look like so-called black people. Okay, but they're for the person, whoever it would be, man or woman, they're up their father's line. It goes back to an Edomite, a so-called white person, usually a slave master. Right, a product of rape. That would be an Edomite. And there's also Israelites that look like so-called white people, but their patrilineal goes back to a tribe. Okay, if you can understand, if you can receive it, then good. All right, but this is going to be a quick breakdown of who Esau, Edom is. All right, because it's really not difficult. Okay, a lot of people overthink it, or they just aren't meant to see it. Really, ultimately, is what it is. But this is going to be a quick breakdown. This is Genesis chapter 25, verse 21. But Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, which is Rebekah. All right, Isaac and Rebekah, because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. All right, so she got pregnant, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it be so, why am I thus?" And she went to inquire of Yahweh, and Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Okay? So right now we know that although they are twins, they will be separated. Okay? They're not the same nation of people. They're going to be forefathers of two different nations. Okay? The forefather of a different nation. Okay? Esau being the forefather of the Edomites, and Jacob, whose name was later changed to Israel, being the forefather of the Israelites. Okay? Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over, like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Okay, so he came out red. And he's saying red like a hairy garment, but later we know as they grew up, Esau was hairy. Okay? He was a hairy man. But in that scripture, it's saying it red like a hairy garment. Okay? But when he grew up, he was hairy. Okay? He had a lot of hair, which is why Isaac had to wear certain gloves, So Isaac, while he was blind, would think that Jacob was Esau. Okay, which I'm pretty sure that's in chapter 27 of Genesis. But it says, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So what nation of people, when they come out of the womb, they come out purple or red? They come out red. Well, we can look it up. Well, they're not showing me right out the womb. Right out of the womb. All right, there's some examples. All right, so it's clearly, based off the pictures we saw, people that have no pigment, all right, so-called white people, okay? Because whereas so-called black people would come out either like pale looking, because their melanin hasn't showed forth yet, or they'd be really, really light brown, okay, or some sort of light brown color, all right? So, moving on. So we know that right there, that's a proof right there. Red all over. That's a so-called white baby, right? Well, really it'd be an albino baby. Okay? Which would come out looking basically the same thing because an albino has no pigment. Okay? Now, here's the thing. If 2 Israelites were to have an albino baby right now, that child would be an Israelite. But right here, Esau, first of all, can't be an Israelite because the Israelites came from Jacob. Esau came from Isaac. And plus it said 2 nations, right? Excuse me, Salakia. So we know that in this instance, Esau being an albino coming out red and later being very hairy is, not... because his father wasn't from a specific nation, right? So Esau is a Hebrew, but he's an Edomite, okay? Because he's the father of that nation. And after that came his brother out and his hand... Well, hold on. What? Why didn't it describe what his brother looked like? Because his brother looked like everybody else. They didn't have to describe it, okay? Because Esau is the one that came out looking different, okay? And after that came his brother out and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. All right. So the first clue that we have there is Esau came out red. We already know that so-called white people come out red for the most part when they come out of the womb. Okay. And after that came his brother out. Wait, we just read that. Salakia. Verse 27. And the boys grew. So they grew up. All right. And Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. Now let's look up hunting. Well, actually, let's look up cunning first. Having or showing skill in achieving one ends by deceit or evasion, attractive or quaint. Well, that's not exactly the definition we're looking for. Crafty, artful, scheming, skill, guile, craftiness, trickery. Well, that definitely does describe Esau. All right? That definitely describes Esau, man. And it definitely describes a so-called white man. But let's look up hunting, all right? Because it says he was a cunning hunter. Let's see who the primary people. Wow, right there on the front page. Let's look up hunting. Wow. Dang. All right. Well, we can clearly see from the picture so far that every time you look up hunting, the people that love to hunt. And now if you're an Israelite and you love to, you hunt, that's fine. But this is a major indicator on who the Edomites are. It says they were a cunning hunter. So hunting is something Esau did. Esau is the hunter, man. All right? He's always the one that's going hunting, bro. All right? Now, and it says a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Right? And you can read the rest of this. Esau sold his birthright. Now let's go to Genesis 27. This is Genesis 27 and 32. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest and have blessed him, yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And first of all, Esau sold his birthright fair and square. Okay, Esau is the one that made that deal. He didn't have to make the deal. Okay, but this one, Jacob, was basically, told by his mother to, to please his father. So Jacob ultimately just finessed Esau. Okay, but Yahweh set it up like that. All right. And he said, Hast thou reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass that when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Now, we look at this precept right here. Well, this one right here. Salaki, this one. And by thy sword thou shalt live. So his blessing is the sword, right? Which is a tool that he uses as hunting. The modern day sword is the gun. Who's always at gun ranges? Who always has guns packed in their house? Who's always the one talking about gun, like refuting gun laws and gun control? And who's the one that's the Second Amendment was created for? Because if you say, well, the Second Amendment was created for everybody, you're a damn liar. The Second Amendment was mainly created so Esau could stop slave revolts, man. So Esau could protect himself with his guns, his blessing, okay? Just like you Israelites out there, you say, well, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence and all of that, they said every man is created equal. Well, they had you in slavery, and they had your brethren, the northern kingdom, in slavery also. The southern and northern kingdom were under them, man. They were talking about all Edomites are created equal. They were saying all so-called white men are equal. That's what they were saying. All right? You should seriously research that, man. They weren't talking about literally everybody. And you're extremely arrogant and ignorant if that's what you believe. Okay? So, go to our gun range, I guess, see what we can do with here. Oh, look what we see. Okay, that might be a Jake on the right. I don't know, but it's mostly Edomites that go to gun ranges. So, that's that, right? It's pretty obvious. All right, it should be obvious so far who they are. Now, verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Now, Esau wasn't able to slay Jacob. All right, but his descendants do it today pretty much every day. Okay, and have for a while. Okay, openly. Lynching, castrating, beating to death, burning alive, all manners of terrible atrocities he's committed to the Israelites. All right, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. So, that should already tell you. And if the spirit, if you're a so-called Negro and you do something to a so-called white man and he's an Edomite, you do something to him, through the spirit, he's an Edomite, and you do something to piss him off, you're probably going to be called a nigger or a nigga, whatever way he says it. All right, he hates you. All right, they hate you. The only reason that they're not beating your ass or talking shit about you in front of your face is because they have no reason to, man. All right, watch once these race wars pop off. Just watch. All right, the so-called white man is going to be your worst enemy because he is. Out of all the nations, Edom is our biggest enemy. Okay, specifically the Amalekites, which are the people that call themselves Jews that stole your heritage. Okay? In fact, there's actually scriptures talking about this. This is Psalms 55 and 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. All right? And that's how Esau looks at you, man. All right? He'll talk, he'll act friendly to you, but then he'll talk about you behind your back. He'll backstab you. think the scripture I'm looking for is in Ecclesiasticus. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12. I'll read verse 10 first. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly, Salakia. An enemy, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Okay? So the Edomites are so-called white people collectively. Okay, that's already pretty much been very concretely established. Okay, other than the confusion of faces among them and tares. Okay, the Edomites that look like so-called Negroes or whoever, but up their father's line, it's a so-called white person. Okay? Because you people need to get off the color thing, man. It's all a spiritual thing. Okay? But the Edomites are so-called white people collectively. Okay? Now, the whole book of Obadiah is it's towards the heathens, but especially towards Edom. We're going to read a couple verses from Obadiah. All right? Which is going to clearly tell you who it is, okay? Because we got some more evidence coming. All right, Obadiah 1, I'll start at verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. So they're extremely prideful, and they're blinded by their pride. That already shows that. Who is that, man? That's clearly the so-called white man. All right, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? All right, because he doesn't believe that he'll ever get torn from power. All right, because he believes he's in power because he's so superior, when the fact is he's the inferior nation. All right, the Israelites are the superior, and Yahweh only set Edom on top to punish the Israelites, my people. Okay, or your people if you're an Israelite. Our people. All right. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. What is the United States national symbol? The eagle. Rome, the eagle. All right. Nazi Germany, the eagle. The Edomites love the eagle. Okay. They love the eagle, the bald eagle. And though thou set thy nest among the stars, they got the satellites, the space stations, they faked the moon landing. Thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. Okay. Now, through the Spirit, I thought of one more thing to really prove, all right, to you. This is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Now, hold on. Who are the wicked? Let's go to Malachi 1:4. Well, actually, let me just read verse 1-4. The burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith Yahweh, yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. So the Edomites are the wicked. And the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. And it's said that Yahweh hates Edom, basically, right? He hates Edomites, right? And he actually regards the other nations because he loves Israel, except he's very furious with us, for all of our constant disobedience, all right? And he hates Edom. Okay, but what about the other 16 nations? Because there's 18 total. Well, the 16 nations he regards as spit, right? Which we've showed in other videos, okay? Which you can read that in 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 54 to the end of the chapter. Okay? And the reason why we are down in this position is Deuteronomy 28:15. Okay? That's the main precept for that I could say. Alright? But staying on this point. So we know the wicked are the Edomites. Now, I want to get another precept on them. because it was restated in Romans chapter 9, verse 13. Well, I'll start at verse 12. Wow, that's the spirit. Actually, I had a bookmark called for everything. I don't even remember when I did that. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with Yahweh? Yahweh forbid. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. Okay? So he hates Esau, which can be translated to the Edomites. Okay? And he loves Jacob, which is the Israelites, specifically the elect, which, Lord willing, we're of the 144,000 and can be delivered, right, from this time of trouble, which is going to be the worst time of all time, or all times, I should say, or all time, whatever way you want to put it. Now, let's go back to Job 9 and 24. So we know the Edomites are the wicked. Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not, wherein who is he? So they covered up all the icons, they painted over them, they made new ones in the Renaissance era, all this. And who are they? So-called white people. Wow, clearly describes God and his son, whose name is Yahweh and Yahushai, as so-called black men. But they put up Serapis, they put up Cesare Borgia, they put up Zeus, they put up all these false gods, right? All these false icons, right? Which this is actually also referring to, what is that? First Maccabees 3 and 48, I think. First Maccabees 3 and 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. There's literally pictures of so-called white people painting over icons that were dark skinned. Okay? So, we know that the so-called white man is in rulership right now. The Edomites. Okay? The Edomites are in rulership. The wicked, so-called white people. Okay? Starting with the elite banker families known as the Illuminati, Bohemian Grove, etc. Okay? Mainly with the Rothschilds, or the Rothschilds, or whichever, I think it's, I'll look it up real quick. I want to get some more of the families anyways. It's like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, Bundy, Russell, Kennedy, DuPont, Rothschild, there it is, Rockefeller, etc. All right? So mainly it's the Rothschild, the Rockefellers, etc. Okay? Which a lot of them, if not all of them, they call themselves Jewish. They are fake Jews. They're Amalekites. Okay, which is the head tribe of Esau, Edom. Okay? So going back to the point, Job 9 and 24, we read that the wicked rule the planet. All right, starting with them. Okay? Now to prove, because there are people that say the Edomites are done away with and that the book of Obadiah has already occurred. Which is false. How do we know this? Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 6. Verse 7, Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham to Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Alright, so when Esau was taken down, according to the scriptures, Jacob would be ruling forever. Okay? All the nations, the heathens, would be in captivity. Okay? There would be no second coming because Yahushua would have already came back, because he's coming back at the end of Esau's world, okay, which is in the time we're in now, and he would tear down Esau. Yahweh's going to use Yahushua to take Esau down, okay, his empires. That has not happened yet, okay. If that did, we would know, okay. The new covenant would be intact right now, and the Israelites would not sin. The real Israelites would be in their land, all the tribes. So no, that has not happened. And if you understand scriptures and you say it has, then you're a bug out and you really don't understand it. So I'm saying if you understand the scriptures, then you would know that Esau, Edom is not done away with. Okay? If you claim to understand the scriptures, but you say that Esau is done away with, then you don't know the scriptures. Okay? And I don't claim to be smart or wise, man, but through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shemel Shai, he set up great teachers and we're being edified. We're learning. Okay? And we put the scriptures together and we figure things out. All right, we connect the dots. Okay, so Esau, Edom is not done away with. And if you claim to know the scriptures, you're some biblical scholar, and you say Edom's done away with, then you really don't understand the scriptures. Okay? All right, now if you know that Edom is not done away with, okay, and you know that they're the so-called white man, then you're on the right track. Okay, but you need the right teachers, which is the apostles and elders, a great millstone on down. Okay, teaching the true doctrine of Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, so Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. The bonus to the apostles and the others, a great millstone to roll well. Peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. All right, Shalom.